day trading education.
Good morning, morning. Welcome, welcome. This is the 8th of June, and we are at a New York session here today for one of the best New York session streams. Um, if you are joining in right now, I guess on YouTube, you can switch to 4K resolution. I think 4K is going to work very well on YouTube right now. We upgraded our systems here, so it looks pretty good. Seems like GPJPY broke below 138,600 here. This was the analysis from yesterday, and yeah, I guess I'm gonna wait for a minor resistance to be formed, and then try to take a sell for price to continue down to 137,900. But I guess at the same time, if we break below this area, there should be an opportunity to take this right down, like below, I'd say 138, 160, coming all the way down to 137,900, which is like a 25 pip zone. So could be a nice opportunity to take shorts below this area here. Let's see what happens. But ideally, I would want to wait for price to create some sort of a minor resistance because it has created a low over here. So it would make sense for it to create like a minor resistance and then continue down. Yeah, so I'm basically gonna wait over here. So let's take a look at, so we're looking at GJ. Let's take a look at US30 here. Let's take a look at Forex Factory, any news, and pre-markets. So these are things I do every day. You know, every day I come over here and then kind of like look at these things. Wow, man, this 4K resolution is pretty big. So positive. See, these numbers are like plus 139 points, plus 120 points. Um, let's take a look here. Let's take a look at US30 here, because if it's plus, then it should be continuing moving bullish. Basically, what I can see is that 27,200. This is the low created, 27,200. And ideally, it should be continuing up towards to retest this high and then continue on. I mean, my high time frame target is right over here, 27,500, and that's I got by looking left on the 4 hour. That wick right over there, that's the wick. Plus, if you look on the daily as well, it's this area right over here, which isn't that far away. I mean, if you look at it, it's only like 300 points. So I think that could be a very good target for. What do you think about the sell I took on GJ? I think any sells you took right over here would be pretty good. I think it's a pretty good sell. Let's see. US30. Let's take a look at gold. take a look at gold. Man, I think I missed this move down with you guys. A lot of people took these sells here. I'm waiting for a little bit of minor resistance to be formed around this area, maybe around like 138, 400, 450, and then take a sell continuing down to retest this low. Yeah, over here. Let me just mark this out. This area here, 138, 240, a break below this area, and then a continuation towards 137, 900. I think that's going to be a very, very good move. So for that, I think my stop is going to be around like 15, 16 pips for a continuation down to 137, 900. US30 seems. Hey, how's it going?
Good, good. How you doing?
Good. How's your mini vacation?
It's always good.
Yeah.
Buying properties, so I had to be out there.
Nice.
Yeah, GJ, the only thing that I'm watching with GJ is short term. I think we have a short term bearish movement, but long term, I think we're going up to 140. I think this is a pullback just for last week's push up. And I think later on this week, we'll have a reversal back up to 140.
Oh.
So I think you're right. The push down, I think you can easily go to almost like 137, 500 in that area.
Yeah.
And then you'll have a bounce off of that to go back up.
Yeah, that's something I'm eyeing right now. I had a sell stop which got activated right here.
Yeah, just should be a nice easy sell. And then gold, I'm watching gold again because the spreads are a lot better. I have gold dropping potentially to 1650 if we can break the low that we had last week. So same idea, just long-term projection.
Yeah, man, like those numbers that came out, it was just not expecting numbers to be that good at all.
It's also when you think about when we look at I guess gold in general, you have that cycle where you have 6 months of bearish activity and then 6 months of bullish activity. So we might be coming into the 6 months of bearish activity now. Just if you look through the charts over the years, that's what you see normally.
Let's take a look here. Oh yeah, it's in due for some correction too, so that would make sense.
Yeah. So it's just something to keep in mind. And I took your US 30 buys, which I agreed with too.
Oh, I have a target way up over here.
Yes.
27,550.
Yep. Easily going to happen today. If you look at the daily chart, the daily now has a big tail on the bottom of it.
Yeah.
At least my chart does. And the weekly is going to fill that gap.
Yeah, see what happens over here. Looks like it's rejecting down here, so I'm going to keep an eye on this one. What was the TP for GJ? Well, if you can't figure that out, then I think there's a problem. Yeah, I think with that positive news on Friday, it's just going to topple over like for the rest of the week over here because gold should be continuing down. US 30 should be continuing bullish with that really, really positive optimism.
People's screens are blurry. Just refresh YouTube. It's simple. Jeez.
Yeah, what you can do is you can reduce the latency.
All I did was refresh my screen. That's it, and it was fine.
And it's just really simple things because now it's gonna come up as 4K, so it's gonna be blurry because some internet connections aren't that fast. Oh, the confirmation. Yes, that was the weak confirmation. At the same time, I know the things about GJ is that, so I was basically waiting for GJ to create like a minor resistance here so I can take a sell coming down towards this area. But at the same time, I was looking at the smaller time frames to see if we break this low to continue moving down. Because, you know, sometimes GJ, it doesn't really do a retest. You know, so when it doesn't really do a retest, you have to be a little bit of, you have to be a little creative with it. Like you have to introduce some new ideas when those things happen. You know, so that's why I moved to the smaller time frame to see if we do break this low so I can execute a sell. Had a sell stop there and it got activated. Stop losses up over here, and yeah, let's see what happens. If it comes up to like 10 pips, I'm gonna obviously secure positions and let the rest run. Do you call that FOMO? No, not really. I mean, FOMO is when you don't do proper analysis and enter a trade. I did proper analysis and then I executed the trade. Ooh, someone took a buy on US30.
Yeah, so it should be good. I mean, once we break above that area, I would only be cautious at the 7 o'clock hour. So I'm watching my US30 trade. I moved the stop loss in the profit already, but I'd be watching the 7 o'clock hour because it could pull back again before it goes back up at 8 o'clock. So we have to really break this. If we break out of here, we should be good. May want to look at securing profits and potentially closing the trade at 7 a.m. if we don't break above this area. Because that 15-minute candle is coming to a top part resistance.
Very, very good sign. All right, let's take a look over here.
Yeah, so my entry for US30 was at 27,254, and now my stop loss is now at 27,265. So I've secured profit, secured basically $5,000.
You're very conservative with US30.
Yes.
It's
I
good.
don't trust that. I don't trust that thing. Yeah, I got 20,000 floating right now, but I don't trust it. That's why, like, if it goes up to about 25,000, 30,000 profit, I'll just close. Like, that's good for a Monday.
How tight are your spreads during Asian session? They're pretty wide. Asian session, you have pretty wide spreads. Close my position. Because then that would mean is now price is trying to range for a possible like a retracement to create like a minor resistance on like the 30-minute or the 15-minute and then start to continue down. So for pound was just 138 285.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
How are we doing? You well?
Yes.
Good.
Man, you guys keep having nice moves in Asian session, London session.
Hey, I was going to say Asian, calm down.
Asian.
It was no. To be honest, it was boring for a long time. We had a lot of range until literally, it's like everyone was watching. I turned it off. The stream we finished. We
Yeah.
planned out what we were going to do for the downside, and then literally as I turned the stream off, it started to break down. So if you're paying attention, it would have been helpful. It's all mapped and stuff, but it mainly was range before, a little bit of a fake out to the upside at the start of the session that you could have got caught out with, but yeah, it still played out nice afterwards, but you got to wait, right?
Yeah, that's true.
See them confirmations.
Um,
Yep, I just heard Ted was talking about the potential downside on the more probably higher time frame as well, because that's what we were looking at as well. You see very similar levels at 37, 500-ish, probably a bit lower, but yeah, it's that level you got there marked up above, that's exactly where we were looking as well. So I thought we'd probably get a bit more of a pull down over Asian.
Yeah.
But it was very slow this morning until that last bit of move, the last hour or so. Oh, probably a bit longer than that.
Yeah, gold should reject 1696. This is the previous support, really strong support held on 27th May around New York session, held it again 3rd June, after London closed. So this could be a very, very good resistance here now, support and resistance. So you'd want to see, see prices ranging here. So at this point, you'll have to see a break below this area so you can say, okay, now comfortably price should continue moving bearish. I have a feeling I may have entered the sells way too early on the 5-minute. Based on the 5-minute, but I placed a sell stop because I was expecting it to just continue moving beyond this area, but it didn't. So I'm keeping an eye on if the next candles just start breaking the highs of these candles or not. Because if they start breaking the highs, at that point I'm going to close my trade and I'm going to wait for a resistance form basically on the 15-minute round over here, on the 30-minute for a continuation down. But at the same time, I'm willing to give this a go.
I think it's worth it. I mean, with the momentum, it just kind of slowed down. There's a little bit to the left on 30 minutes. It's like a little bit of a wiki area.
Yeah.
But I think you got enough strength.
I'm 30 close below your USD sells. I think you can move your stop loss above this candle, the 30-minute candle, as it starts to close, because this is now a breakout candle. And the next candles, if they're going to continue moving down, they shouldn't break the high of the breakout candle. Let me bring it somewhere over here. That'll be pretty good.
Yeah, and people asking about the 5-minute candle versus a 15-minute candle versus a 30-minute candle. It comes down to your comfort level. And if you are well aware of what your pair does, you can trade off a 5-minute level because you're able to visualize the other time frames. The reason why we don't talk about those time frames all the time is because it confuses people. But if you've traded GJ long enough, you know that there's some times where you can't wait 15 minutes. You have to use a 5-minute time frame to get into the trade because the 15-minute candle moves 10 or 20 pips. So keep that in mind. There's no hard and fast rules. There's a guideline there to help you to strategize. But as you get more comfortable and as you get better, you can adjust and modify those strategies to suit your trading style. I think people have to get out of this formula-based setup where it's like, well, I only do this because of this. And it's not that way. It's fluid. We know GJ moves 10 or 20 pips in a 15-minute candle. So sometimes you have to enter in on a 5-minute candle to catch the move from 6:45 a.m. to 7 a.m. Otherwise, you've missed it. There's nothing wrong with that. But you also have to keep in mind where you are, where your stops are, where your take profits are, so that it does align up with that strategy. It's I watch the 1-minute candles sometimes, depending on the pair that I'm trading. It doesn't mean that I live by those. It just means that sometimes you have to, when things aren't giving you a proper entry on a higher time frame. You have to drop down. Do you do it all the time? No, but sometimes you have to, based on where you are in the session and based on, you know, where price is overall. And my US
pulled back below that area.
Mhm.
So this has broken the lows over here, which now makes room for the next candles to continue moving down. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tighten my stop here a little bit and anticipate the next continuing down. What do you think about this trade? I think you need to you have to teach people how to use YouTube. Let's take a look at this. Oh, nice. Sell stop placed over here. It got activated. Put stops at break even and you let it run. It's pretty good. Pretty good. See, now once price here, so I closed my trade right here. Exited the trade at break even, almost around break even, right? Because I was in the money. The last thing you want is to be in the money and then to go in negative. You don't want that. You don't want to go in negative. You know, so that's where you have to protect your capital. So at this point, what I'm going to do is now, like, you know, I realized my entry was too early. You know, it was on a smaller time frame here as well. So I'm going to wait for price to maybe now create like a minor resistance, have a little pullback, and then continue moving down. So I got out of that trade. I think that was a pretty good decision. Plus, we were also approaching this area right over here to the left hand side, which caused some issues for, you know, candles to leave a wick. GJ, break even. Oh wow, you guys see really good quality on YouTube. Damn, it's
Hey.
really, really big.
I'm enjoying it. It looks really good, man.
Let's take a look at this one. All right, this makes sense. I think the only thing you'll have to be careful about this area is to be aware that price may come down to do like a retest to continue moving up. Do you always close your up? So in my mind, it doesn't make sense to hold the drawdown. You know, so in my mind, it makes sense to, you know, since I was in minor resistance and then come down to retest this low. So that's going to be the second chance I'm going to give it. Let's take a look at this chart here. This is, could you consider this resistance that was broken? Yeah, so that's something I was looking at basically when I closed, right? Plus we had a big move all the way down after London Open into pre-New York. So, like, you know, that move might have some correction here later on. So let's see what happens here. We still got time. Supposedly you, Monty, Ted are coming to Cape Town. No, we're not coming to Cape Town. You are streaming in 1440, not 4K. Yeah, because you don't have a 4K monitor. That's why you don't see that option. What's this? Your USD Daily Chart. Arrow down, arrow up. Yeah, so you're looking at like a retest to continue moving up. Makes sense. USD is pulling back. Man, this is why it's so difficult. The next candle will continue moving bullish.
Hmm. Yeah, there was the resistance was respected, and it's like, make sure you have your stop in place. The other thing is
Yeah.
too, when you're looking at, like at one point I was up 20,000 and then ended up closing, I think I cleared 5,000 or whatever here. The moves are a lot faster. So you have to, one candle, you technically can take profit and say, okay, I'm done for the day. It's just, you got to get used to that because you're used to watching it move for longer, like, maybe 2 or 3 15-minute candles. And then when you don't get that, then you're confused. But the move was actually pretty big for one 50-minute candle.
So the 15-minute candle here closed bullish on GJ. So I guess that close was a very good decision here. Yeah, so I guess now my next move is going to be wait for like a minor retracement, make like a resistance, and then I'll try to take another sell coming down. What's this?
Raja, can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Yo, you know what I noticed in GCAD, and I don't know about GJ, but your textbook trades, meaning retesting, where price was. I always noticed that when price is bullish, the chance of retesting are higher than the bears. Have you noticed that?
No, I think you'll have to send a chart for everyone to see what you're talking about.
Okay.
You send the chart, please.
Well, you can't really send it. Well, okay, hold on.
What do you think about GJ long term? I think long term we're still bullish. If you look at here, if you look at the daily, long term we're still bullish. The only thing is we're in this consolidation area right over here. So the only thing I'm thinking about is that if price is retracing here in the daily, it might start ranging between, let's say 137 400 and 139. So with this range, there would be a support being made, and that support should push price moving up. I was actually talking to somebody yesterday, and they were talking about like how that would also make sense because slowly once they start opening the economies, 141 would be really, really easy to reach. Let's take a look at this. It should continue moving, but at the same time, I mean, I think your TP is way down over here. So I don't know if you're expecting price to continue straight down or create like a minor resistance to go straight down. So that's something you'll have to maybe revise in terms of take profit. Do you discuss any fundamentals? Yeah, I mean, if there are any news, we do discuss them. On Friday, we had, so if there's news, we do that. So as you can see, I had sells and then prices moving up. So that was a very, very good close at break even. You always got to be safe. If this was me 2-3 years ago, I'd still be holding the sells. I'd be like, no, this is going to go down. I'm going to hold it. And then price would just go up. And I was like, oh man, should have just closed it, right? So it's good. It's doing a retracement, might form like a resistance and then continue down. Which is more reliable, 15-minute chart or 30-minute chart? It depends on which pair you're looking at as well. Ideally, 30-minute is the safest, but sometimes, like we mentioned it before too, sometimes there's a lot of volume, there's a lot of momentum in the chart that you're forced to look at the smaller time frames. right. Oh, nice. Someone caught those buys. Pretty good. The only thing I want to say is that if someone is in a drawdown since yesterday and you're trying to overtrade right now, I would say just stop. Just stop overtrading. It's not going to help you a lot. If you're taking more than 4 or 5 trades and you're still in losses, just call it a day and come back tomorrow. That's my honest advice to anyone who's going through that tough time and they don't know what to do. Because sometimes when you're doing like a string of losses, you feel like you're helpless, you can't do anything, but you're already doing enough. And what you're doing enough of is overtrading, and you can't do that. You have to really understand and realize those behaviors that you're involved in during when you're trying to trade. Because sometimes we do stuff and we don't really realize that we're up to this. But like after the fact, when you look at your history, you realize that, oh, like, you know what, there were some things you shouldn't have done. Maybe holding a loss for too long, or maybe taking 2-3 losses and trying to take 4 more trades and taking those losses. So that's very important. And what's this? Overtrading is like working out 3 times a day. Yeah, that's true. Overtrading is like working 3-4 times a day. You're bound to injure yourself. So if you look on the 30-minute candle, this 30-minute broke the high of the previous 30-minute. Overall, high time frame trend is bullish, right? It's bullish, but we can't look for buys because the smaller time frame trend, the minor trend here, is bearish, right? And we broke below 138,600, made a low at 138,200. So this is a bearish trend now. We made a low. There's going to be a high chance price will create like a minor resistance and continue down to retest the low. And that's the trade I'm going to look to trade. Are you Indian? No, I don't look like an Indian. Yes. Yeah, I'm a human being. So, sometimes, when you come to the charts and it's not always a trading time. You just have to wait a little bit and chit chat here and there. And how to join the VIP chat? Well, that's something you need to find out. All right, what's this? This is GJ 15-minute. Put my stop losses at the top of the candle. Nice. Pretty good. Very good trade. All right, let me just... got some entries because the friend told me to enter and made a loss. Perfect. One thing I've learned in this business is never to listen to your friends. Never listen to your friends. Because your friends might see something which you don't see, but you trust them, so you'll take the trade. That's something I learned over time. Sometimes they're your good friends, but they can snake you out of the trade. They'll take a losing trade and to make themselves feel better, they're like, hey man, listen, this trade is gonna go, so just take it. Thanks for those words, though some hurt, but it really helped one to direct to your trading doing it right. Oh yeah, obviously. Like, if you're taking losses, it doesn't help you at all, so you gotta manage that behavior. Yeah, for shorts on your JPY, I don't know. You'll have to wait, because once this candle starts closing bearish, this 15-minute candle, no, bullish. Once it starts closing bullish, then there's a minor support formed here, right? So now you're following price. If a minor support has been formed at this level around 123, 270, 260, and if you're going to look left, there was another support that price broke. So there could be a very high chance the price may start retracing to create like a minor resistance to continue moving below, 138, 200 again. I'm going to start looking for sells again. But if I don't see that, then I'm waiting for price to create like a minor resistance to continue moving down. But at the same time, someone looking for buys on Euro GBP. Yeah, I think these buys would make sense if I'm looking for sells on GBP. Right here. Yeah, buys would make sense. I think much safer buys would be if you see a support formed in this yellow area, then you can take a buy with the same stop. So I don't know how to trade the line chart. Just use it for size pricing. That's pretty good. What would you do if you took the 30 pip trade? Would you call it a day? Yes, I would call it a day.
Hi, Roger.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, good. You?
Good.
Quick question, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure.
So I think you noticed it yesterday, and I noticed it as well. Asian session. The 30-minute closed bearish, but the 1 hour was bullish overall. And usually we're trading off the 30 mainly. But if the hour's closing bullish still, is it possible to still take a buy? I mean, in this instant, it worked out. Cool. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't really trade the Asian session yesterday at all. Ooh, was it this one right over here?
Yeah, that's the one, mate.
Yeah. So that was the 1 hour. Yeah.
I think you commented on it.
Yes. Yeah, because this.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to let me speak. Yeah, this candle has had no wick to the bottom here. Starts creating a support. There's going to be a very high chance it might come up to retest this high over here. So I think that was based on that 1 hour too. Because it was like, make a note of.
Yeah, I didn't notice the wick thing.
Oh, what's this? This is prices ranging, so I waited, saw lower lows, lower highs. Candle broke below the previous low, took an entry. Nice. Beautiful. Euro AUD. I don't know, expect this wick to, yeah. See, now it rejected this area down over here, which makes sense because now if you look left, you'll see that this is the same rejection area way here to the left. So maybe this is an important area which is rejecting it now. So ideally you would want to wait for another like a resistance here, which will be a lower resistance than this one. Or you could wait for a break below this area for price to continue moving down. That's something what happened on GJ.
Yeah, I'd be very careful with Euro AUD because we had a massive bull run or a massive bearish run last week, which I captured. There's a very, very heavy support at 1.6070. Around there, so just be careful. We may test that and then bounce up, so just be cautious when you look on the weekly time frame. It might just fill that wick and then come to an end on that as well, because a lot of that pressure was built based on with gold. Obviously the Aussie dollar is backed heavy by gold as well, so keep that in mind, that as the price of gold shot up, so did the Aussie dollar. We had a rally with the Aussie dollar as well. And now what you'll find is that you might bounce off that and we might pull back up. But I mean, once again, it's a weekly support at 1.60, so you got a bit of time to go through to the downside.
4 hour looks beautiful to go down to that support before the wick fill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I traded Euro AUD last week. It was actually very easy. I had massive swings with Euro AUD because of that weekly candle that basically dropped. I was able to take it down really, really deep. The tens Euro AUD, one of the characteristics I was looking at is it does trend really well. The only issue that you're going to run into with Euro AUD is the retests are very, very heavy. So it does pull back very violently, but it's not as violent as GJ, as pip value is a little bit less with that as well in terms of US dollars, but the retests are very, very big. So if you miss the original entry, you can grab another one. But on top of that, when you scale into positions, you'll find that you can scale in multiple entries and have really good runs with it. I'm also looking at gold to break down. I think if we break to 1692, I'm going to take an entry to go to 1677.
Hey, Roger, you're on mute.
Oh yeah, thanks for checking me. So someone asked, what would switch my buys for GJ? My buys for GJ will be shifted from sells to buys if we start closing above 138,600 or even above 138,700, and if we start creating support above this blue zone I have, then I would start looking for buys. But right now as price stands, it created a low. Some people took buys, that's awesome, but I'm going to be waiting for a resistance to be formed below this area and then start coming down. That's something I'm looking for. And that's going to be my second and last trade here for today. Please cheek my chart. If you send it, I'll cheek it. Why does slippage happen? Slippage happens when there's a lot of momentum, a lot of volatility in the market. Like news causes slippage. Gaps happen over the weekends, obviously prices moving over the weekend, so that's why gaps happen. So a good example is right over here. On Friday, price closed at 138.735. Over the weekend, price was moving. When market opened, it opened at 139. No, that's why gaps happen. Are you able to see my chart? Yes. Let's take a look here. I am in no trades so far. It's like I have to announce it. No trades. Give me an indication that we may continue down to retest this area.
Yeah, so let's US 30 flew up.
Yeah, I was about to tell you about that.
Yeah, I got stopped out earlier. I got stopped out at
really?
267. I was in at 254 as well. Would have been a nice move up to 300.
Yeah, see, these pullbacks are just crazy on US 30.
Mm-hmm. But I'm watching gold right now. I'm hunting this gold trade. If we get into 1692, I do want to take it down all the way. But I think I might have to wait till the 8 o'clock hour to take it. I think we might bounce around for a bit.
Were you looking below 92, Ted?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
I want to
yeah,
break below 92. There's a zone on the hourly
Mm-hmm.
that I'm watching right now that is further. and that would then flip the weekly candle and then push down to 1650.
Is it about based on the hour around the 3rd of June? So we were
Yes.
looking for you. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. If you look at the weekly candle right now, we're creating a top wick. I think that's what's happening. And okay, Raja's got it up. The idea is I want this candle now to flip, and then right about over here, we would think is to the monthly is now bearish as well. So I'd like to see that push down, but I don't want to take the trade unless we get like more bearish confirmations. Right now, it's still a little wishy-washy. Like I caught sells on gold on Friday, and I got stopped out. I thought we were going to continue to rally down because I mean we did hit 1670 at one point.
Yeah, it pulled back quite a lot.
Yeah, I was like 100 pips in profit, and then it pulled all the way back, and it really pissed me off. So I'm thinking that this should continue again this week.
Yeah, it'd be a nice structure the way it's formed up on that hour now.
Yeah, so around 1670 should be a nice target if you get in. If we can break down past 1690, you get a nice target at 1670. 4 hours sort of rangy.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great point to potentially turn, but it's just a bit tough.
Yeah.
You know, if this was the 30-minute or the 1 hour,
yes,
and if the next one broke this low, it'll be very, very good trade to continue down.
That's exactly what I'm waiting for. So I'm hoping that your 15 or hour, even whatever, just to see where it is, because the spreads on gold have gotten really tight lately.
Yeah, they have gone down. Well, pre-London, they went up massively for some reason, but then during London, it got better.
It's a very good target, so I'm not too concerned. And Raja's got 1680, so anywhere below 1690, you have a huge window of opportunity all the way down to 1680, and then eventually 1670.
It's a little bit around 85 that I think might be a little bit of a touchy zone, but apart from that, I think very similar.
Yes, it's just time. No. Euro JPY, looks like Euro JPY is kind of rejecting here like a retest. I think to be safe on Euro JPY, you would want to see a break below 123.275. If you can get that break, then you have clean moves going down. You know, if that break doesn't happen, then there's going to be a possible some more correction, like on GJ right now, right? If you look on GJ came up towards 138.589, actually tapped into 138.520. It kind of seems like it's rejecting now. This doesn't mean there's a sell. I'm actually waiting for a bearish confirmation on a 30-minute or maybe the 15-minute to execute the trade. Kind of waiting games. Hey, what do you think about this GU idea? Let's take a look here. GUIO, we had this AUD New Zealand idea. It looks good. I think AUD New Zealand, you shouldn't be trading it, that fact. Waiting for resistance to be formed before executing sells. Makes sense. Something I'm looking for on GJ as well. This chart, this is sell on EJ. Yes. I think the main thing is, yeah, this sell looks good on the 30-minute chart. 15-minute also, same thing, have this support. Do you recommend when starting out to focus on just one pair? Yes, I do recommend to focus on one pair. What I do over here is, now we have around like 2,700 people here watching. What I normally do is I mostly focus on GJ. That's the only trade I focus on. No, that's the only pair I focus on to take a trade. All these, like my friends, they trade gold, some trade US30, so it's easier to have access to these pairs once I have them up over here. But I just focus on GPJPY. I took a sell earlier, break even. Now I'm looking for another sell, like a rejection over here to take a sell coming down. So let's see what happens.
I don't know if it's good or bad.
playing on the edge over there. What about gold trade? I think you need to send a chart if you're already in a gold trade. You know, if you send charts, we can take a look at your charts and give you some feedback. I think gold is going to be a buy if we start breaking above 1696. Then it's going to be a buy coming up towards like 1702, 1704. But as long as it stays below 1696 and it stays above, 1693, gold is just ranging. Ooh, what's this? Gold. Bullish pressure. Looks like we're going to break resistance. Yeah, looks good. Maybe a fake out. See, the thing about fake outs is you can't predict fake outs if they don't happen. That's the thing. It's like saying, oh, I think it's going to happen. But what you see is that something else is happening. So having those ideas, that's okay because, you're prepared to see that happening. But since it's not going to happen, I think it's a good idea to not even have this in the back of your mind, but not at the front, saying that, okay, it's going to happen, I'm going to be ready for it. What if it just...
Yeah, sorry. The thing is too, I mean, this fake, this idea of having a fake out here, like you said, go ahead, Raj, continue your thought. I'll give you my thought after.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing you have to be careful about is what if price breaks up, starts to come down, and if it starts to come down, you look at it as a fake out, but what if it's doing a retest to continue moving up?
Mm-hmm.
So
my idea as well, I mean, this area here, if you look at the way that this candle here dropped, all we're doing is we're correcting that move to continue potentially go further down. If you look at the daily candles, the bearish candles have been they've been a lot stronger than the bullish candles. If you've watched the last 3 or 4 days, we've had bullish movement up, but the bearish candles have always continued to drop. Now, the key here is there's a zone that we tapped into around 16. Sorry, let me get this information. From 1687 all the way to 1671, we tapped into that zone and rejected it. If indeed we're going to go bullish, I think you would need to see another daily candle tap into that zone and then pull away from there. So I think it's very early to try and take either a buy or a sell. Like Raja was saying, it's more ranging. For me to get comfortable with buys, I need to see us reject above 1700 to then drive to 1716 again. I don't like taking any sort of position right now until we see a nice confirmation out of that area. This is a really, really big range that we're in right now.
Any best time to trade GP pairs? Yeah, I guess when there's volume. Having volume in the market is a really good time to trade. What's this? GJ, 30 minutes, selling, arrow down, breaking trend line, coming up to retest trend line in the zone, and coming down, and coming up, and coming down. Looks good. Yeah, I'm gonna wait for a resistance to be formed to take a sell to come down to retest this low at 138.200. Because yeah, I think that's going to be something that's going to be nicer to trade at this point. Your screen is fuzzy. No, there's something happening in your end. Ooh, what's this? 1 hour support created. Price time to make lower highs, lower lows. Bearish candles. We'll take entry if we start to break this support on your JPY. Yeah, I think on your JPY you would need like a minor resistance formed for price to continue moving down. Same thing's happening on GJ here too. So for that to happen, I want price to stay below 138,600. That's my condition for sells. As long as price stays below 138,600, we could have a move continuing down towards 138,200. I've heard some traders struggle in the month of July. Can anyone speak why? I think you need to speak to them who struggle in July. July is going to be here next month, and we're going to see if we struggle in July or not. I think should be a pretty easy month. I think people who really, really struggle is because they're not really disciplined. Let's see here. So some people are saying that the screen is fuzzy, and I'm going to give a small YouTube tutorial on how to make the screen unfuzzy.
The refresh button.
Yeah.
Well, also in your settings, you can change your settings to HD.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'll let this ad play over here. Man, I've been seeing this ad all the time. This guy.
I think I've got the same one.
Yeah. That London breakout strategy guy is gone.
Yeah.
Okay. So see right over here, you go over here, you click it. Yeah, so it shows right over here. From here, you can change the settings. You know, from HD to 760, and you can change all these settings. Or you can just hit refresh right here. That's going to be $2 for the YouTube tutorial. Please donate in the box below. On your way out, please put the money in the box. US 30 buy. Yeah, I think it's gonna continue moving bullish. I think it's gonna continue moving up. I mean, if you're gonna have a stop below the 1 hour candle, I think you're still good for price to continue moving up.
I don't trust the buys on US 30 yet.
I don't trust US 30 at all.
I know you don't.
I don't trust this at all, man. I've taken 12 trades on US 30. I've won 4 trades. And those trades have been like, I waited for confirmations, perfect things to set up, and it's just not happening for me with US 30.
Yeah, I think with US 30, you're going to probably have to wait for the new hour and have the new hour pull back a bit before you take trades right now. Because that resistance is very heavy with US 30. I wouldn't trust it either.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not expecting this resistance to get broken right now. Maybe we're gonna have a pullback, and then maybe 9:30, 9:35 when market open. Then we're gonna have a nice bullish from the. I'm gonna be waiting for that.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like my cells are gonna start formulating here now on GJ. Just gonna wait for this to close. I entered a small position to try to scalp a sell. Jimmy Maz, I think that's the issue with a lot of people, is that they enter small positions to try to test it out. I think that's where the discipline factor comes in, because if you're gonna start off with a small position, I would say wait for your regular one, because I can take a sell over here now, anticipate for it to come down, but it hasn't given me any confirmation it's going to come down. So that's what I'm waiting for. You know, so still got 6 minutes left for this candle to close. I got 21 minutes left for the 1 hour candle to close. So it's okay to wait. You know, there's nothing wrong with waiting, because when you're waiting, you're automatically incorporating stress-free trading, because that's what you want to do. You know, that's where trading becomes really, really stress-free. You're not over trading. You're not trading when you're focusing on 1 or 2 trades, waiting for candles to close. It's become so easy. The only thing that doesn't happen is that you don't enter trades all the time. And trading is really not about, I came now, I want to know what is the sell stop and buy stop. There is none. Do you ever get tired lecturing how to think, manage? No, not really. I mean, it's actually fun because the reason why I don't get tired is because every day there are like new people who come in, they watch the stream. So I think it's I don't know, I just like it. I don't, yeah, I think it's okay. It's whatever. I have a son too, so like, you know, it's not a big deal repeating things. So everyone here like my little brothers, and some are some are really young. They're like my sons, so
Get used to that repeating, right?
yeah, I get used to repeating.
I think a lot of times if people have questions related to trading or confirmations or what to do, really what you should be doing is you should be going back and watching the previous live stream. Even now, the weekly recap that you did, Raja, was actually really well done. I think people need to just take some time and go and do that before they come and ask questions here. Here, we should be doing live analysis. We should be looking at trades that have gone wrong. We really shouldn't be asking, well, what do you use on your charts? Where do you draw support and resistance? How do you do this? Like, as much as you want to do that because you want the answer right now, it's not helping you develop your mind in terms of trading. All you're doing is you're just having answers thrown at you, and you're not able to think things through and do your own research. So it's going to hurt you in the long run when myself or Raja or Monty or whoever you're following isn't available, and now you have to make a decision. You're just going to be stunned. You're not going to have confidence to make your own decision because you didn't source out the information within your own confidence. What you did was you just looked for a parroted answer or regurgitated answer just to check off a box in your knowledge bank when you could have researched this and actually gained a little bit more knowledge behind it as well.
Can you check this idea? Let's take a look at this. This is no idea what this is. Bearish candle, so I think there's some sort of stock here. Yeah, looks good. Looks good. I think this is the weekly time frame as well, so I think it makes sense. You're looking for sells. That's all I can say. It doesn't really tell much. I mean, if you look at this chart and if you look at, well, we're going to see some of the charts. If GJ hits resistance and comes back down, would you set TP around 138 or 137.830? Yeah, it's going to be around, like, you know, when London Open had rejected at like 138.600, I think it should reject it here again, and I think then I can have a trade coming down over here. Regurgitated answer, such a big word.
Sorry about that.
Actually, me being an immigrant and English being my second language, I've actually learned a lot of new words from you.
Yeah, I really think it'll help traders develop if they can go and do their research and then come back and ask questions based on the research. I think that's one of the keys to being a solid trader is sourcing out information and then looking at the information, and that will help you it will give you confidence as a trader that you're on the right path. I think people mistake that information, that small little tip, because that's really going to drive. If you look at some of the best traders that you follow or that you look at, a lot of the validation didn't come from other traders. It came from just executing on the charts and actually implementing a strategy and sticking with it. There was no, well, when do you do this? How do you do that? It's more of a free flow based on the requirements of the trade that you're looking for.
What's this here? Is it quiet in your neighborhood? Yeah, it's very quiet in the neighborhood. Would you say $500 a week with a $2,500 account is too much to aim for? Yes, I think it's too much to aim for. Ooh, US30 is pushing up over here. Gold should start pushing down. I think with $2,500 you can easily aim for $100 a week, 100 to 150 a week. I think that's going to be a very, very good target every week, because then that becomes 400 a week. You know, someone actually sent a chart here. This is a very, very well labeled chart, previous one, so it should continue moving. This is actually a very, very well labeled chart. I really like it. I'm a newbie here, yet first time faced a big loss in demo account due to taking places in FX before markets opened yesterday. Most of the pound yen pairs did seem uptrend, yet all losing now. Yeah, I think you need to send a chart where you took the entry and what happened. I think a better idea on US30 would be to
wait for this 30-minute candle to close, because I'm expecting this 30-minute candle close as the previous one. You know, the last. Let me see if I can draw something here. Basically, I'm expecting this 30-minute candle closing do something like this, because this, to me, as it is right now, it's gonna be a fake out. This candle's just creating a fake out, in my opinion. So I'll be waiting for the 30-minute candle to close. Either way, we're gonna have a pullback to this area. So there's no need to rush anything right now with US30.
This is, why are you not taking this as a good support, equal resistance? Why are you taking this? Because of this area here to the left, that's why. If we start breaking above, you know, 138.600, then I'm going to start looking for a support to be formed for price to continue moving up towards 139. That's my whole idea. But if we start creating a resistance over here at this point, which on the 15-minute, I mean, we should, then I think with the New York Open, we should get a move coming down towards 138.200. So that's something what I'm looking for. My stops are going to be above this candle around 138.570, and I'm going to be looking for shorts to 138.200. But I have to wait for this candle to close, because this previous 15-minute candle closed bearish, but it closed like a doji candle, right? It opened and closed at the same level, so there was no change at that point. So I really want to wait for this candle to close. Some tough decisions I'll have to make. Do some of the charts that these traders send you help you out like their own GJ analysis? No, not really. Sometimes they do. There have been like 2-3 times where I've looked at the chart and I've said, yeah, that makes much more sense than my chart. So I've taken that trade. But like, you know, at that time it's pretty good too, because people send their ideas and you get to see different perspectives on the same scenarios. So this is pretty good. Helps everybody. What's wrong with resistance 138.800? It's too far away. That's the only thing that's wrong with it. I mean, if price starts creating resistance over here, then there's a very high probability it's going to continue down to retest the low over here, right? So I think that's going to be a very good trade to take. It's in a 25, 26 pip range. I've taken 2 trades in London, making a loss. Am I right in saying I shouldn't take the trade you're doing and just stay disciplined? Yes. Yes, I think if you've taken 2 losses, and even if you take a 3rd trade, there's a probability it may become a loss as well. So then you'll have 3 losses. So the best thing to do would be to just say, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna call it a day, and I'm just gonna watch if it really works. Because if you can watch something that really works, then you can take that idea into the next day, and then you can implement it. Another thing I'm looking at is if this 15-minute candle breaks the low of the previous 15-minute candle, that would mean it's going to make a newer low, so that's going to be as well. So I'm just going to wait.
Hey, Raja.
Hey.
Can you hear me?
Yep. Yeah, we can hear you. In your opinion, what's the best way to fund my Vantage account? I think you need to save money, and when you have enough saved up, then you can deposit that and you can fund your account. Alright, we're coming closer to breaking this low over here. What's going to be my stop here? My stop is going to be around 10, 11 pips. Not too bad. Pretty good. First day back on the road for work got, ooh, nice, 20 pips from Sacha. Beautiful. All right, we broke the low over here. Sell got activated. This is the second chance I'm giving my sells here today. First one stopped at break even, moving at least down to at least, let's say 138, 300. That's going to be a pretty good idea. So let's see what happens here. Do you trade with leverage? I think everyone in Forex trades with leverage. You can't trade without leverage. Stop loss here. Would you take a sell if the low breaks? Yes. Oh, I think I already did. So yeah, looks good. It's pretty good. Now, in terms with risk management, if candle starts breaking above, let's say 138,500, that's the point where I'm going to close my positions and I'm going to call it a day at that point. Because I want it to stay below 138,500, which is the high it made right over here with the candles closing. So, if it closes below this low, that's going to be pretty good for the next candles to continue moving down too.
Hey, Roger, can you hear me?
Yeah.
So I'm looking for the exact same thing as you. Just I often come, across times like this where the hour is about to close bullish. So tell me how you feel about this. I usually like to wait for, this 30-minute to close and then take a sell upon the break of that low, just because the hour is about to close bullish upon open. I guess, what are your thoughts on that? Like, why take it now as opposed to waiting?
I think because I still believe that once it broke the low over here, it should continue moving bearish.
That's fair.
Looking at the 30-minute, because then that would make the 30-minute close bearish as well, right? But yeah, so at the same time, I have my stops at around this area here, and I'm going to close once it crosses 138,500. So it's more of like anticipating price to continue moving. That's it. You're just anticipating price to keep on moving because it broke the low over here. So if it moves down, it's going to be good. If it moves up, then it's going to be a loss, and then we'll end the day.
Raja, you know how that's your second trade? Does that affect,
It's the same. It's the same. Yeah.
Because your bias is the same.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Gold is still at the support here, hanging out. Can you help me with those 2 questions? All right, let's take a look here. Those 50% right over here. So I'm going to keep an eye on that as well. All right, what's this? Means that there was an easier move when price started to come up, and at this point here it meant that price had an easier move coming down. I think you need to watch the candle pattern section in the database. That's explained right over there. All of that is explained over there. So at this point I closed my position right over here, because it's coming up towards 138,500, so I think it might not continue down. So I close it here. Staying disciplined is important. Yeah, attempted 2 sells. Trade 2. GJ. -6 pips. So I closed these 2 trades. So I closed this last one in a loss before the candle closed, knowing that it can go down in profits, and I also know that, okay, maybe it may start to go up as well. So I'm accepting that fact. I'm accepting the fact that, okay, even a pretty good day here. Didn't really lose a lot. Like my daily risk is around like $1,000, $1,200. I think I'm down like 400. It's pretty good day. Price broke below the lows of the last week. Monday, Tuesday took sells, anticipating price to drop to a lower level. Close my position. Why does price reach was coming down here again? Then you got to ask yourself, what's the probability that price will reject this area, right? And I think your close was really good because you anticipated price to reject it, because it was a support here. So that's it. It got rejected. If I reach my weekly goal in 2 days, how should I go by for the rest of the week? I think you should maybe reduce your lot sizes and then go forward with that. I mean, you got to make a plan about that, so that you can be the Stan with the plan. The Stan has the plan. Yeah, looks like gold's close. Would you take a shot at GJ again if it shows signs of bearish? No, I wouldn't. I take 2 trades. I took 2 trades. One was a break even, one was a loss, and I'm not going to take a 3rd trade here. It's a Monday, so I want to be really, you have to be really patient on Mondays. There's no reason to go really hard on Mondays. It's discipline. But if it does reject 138,500, if it starts to move down, you know what that's going to be? That's going to be an information I'm going to put in my journal or in the back of my head that's saying, okay, like, what, this really actually worked. It actually made a low, came up, created resistance, and came down to retest this low, right? So that's going to be it, retested this low. But if it starts to go up, then I can turn around and say, well, like my close of the trade was very good, because now, like I got saved. So I think you should be very patient and disciplined with trading. Just like on gold, it should respect 1693 and continue bearish.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at gold trades right now, so what I'm looking to see is I want to see this area here break. The reason why I say that is trying to take a trade over here will be very tough because you don't know if this wick is going to go further up. So just be very cautious as you're taking it. And looking at the way this is going to set up for us for gold, if you are taking this trade, chances are so this could be a nice trade if you catch it right now and you watch weekly time frames. And what you're doing is you're going to place your stop above the weekly resistance or the weekly wick at like 1698. So if you want to swing it, you have an opportunity there to swing it, and you'd go from 1698 to like 1688. Well, sorry, 1678 basically. So you have a proper risk to reward.
Yeah, that stop is just above this area here as well, consolidation.
Yes. Yeah. So if you want, as you get deeper into profits, obviously you can watch your targets on the smaller time frames. But from a swing perspective, you would take the top of that weekly high as your stop loss, and then you could basically go all the way down to 1670, 1669 as a target, which is the weekly fill. So you should have a good trade there if you're looking to swing trade gold and gold continues to drop.
Entry at 123,300, close with a 7 pip stop loss. Nice, it's pretty good. You took sell, you closed early. Yes, that's really good managing your trade. Could you please answer the question for my chart? Thanks. So since you said thanks, we're going to take a look at this. Let's take a look here. Hey, would you consider the minor resistance as a reason that it could possibly keep moving up? I think you meant support. Yeah, I mean, if there's a support forming, if you can see, okay, so if this candle starts closing bullish, then what you can do is you can maybe be a little fluid and maybe move this zone right down over here, provided it closes bullish. Then you can anticipate price will continue moving bullish again, you know, because this move down, I don't think this was a something that happened with the pound. I mean, there was no pound news and there wasn't any news that came out either. So it could be a very well idea that, okay, if this candle closes bullish on this time frame, then you could see price continuing moving up. But as it stands right now, there are no bullish confirmations, because, you know, trades on Mondays to define a success rate. But I think if I take like 10 trades, I think 6, 7 would be profitable trades. What time do you look at the charts in the morning? Same time I come on the streams. When I open the streams is the first time I look at the charts. Price consolidating, bullish move, resistance became support, okay. Price closed with no wick, reversal, and you took an entry over here. Yeah, I think it's pretty good. Very good. Beautiful. Bum, 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 bum. Through a normal one, you're not going back through a normal one at all. It's just
There wants to 4K.
Yeah, I'm gonna change them to 4K.
Haha.
It's so streamlined and so crisp. Like, it's so crisp, it's unbelievable. Compared to 144 hertz, no, they're pretty expensive. 144 hertz. Oof, looks like EJ had no bearish confirms, just kept pushing bullish. It's coming up towards 123,500. Kind of like the same level on GJ, 138,500. Do you think you entered the trade too early? No, not really. I think I did. I was being too. I think I was aggressive, but at the same time I managed my risk here as well. So it's pretty good. Very, very, very safe. Trust me. The only thing is that sometimes what happens is when people go in profits, what's going to happen is in profits you keep trailing your stops. You know, like it runs really, really good. You let your profits run, but most times people let their losses run too. So that's where you need to like step back and say, okay, you know what? If I'm taking a loss, if I'm in a drawdown, and I moved my stop loss, or you know, like you've actually removed your stop loss, then you really need to do some self-analysis and ask yourself why. Why did you remove your stop loss? Like, what's your plan right now? You know, because once you take a trade, you have a stop loss. That's your trading plan. You have a stop loss. But once you remove it, that's where things start to get ugly. You know, so I used to do that. Now I don't do that. I don't do that. If I have a stop loss, I close it. You know, I accept the stop and then move on to the next day. Because I know I'm going to take small losses, but my wins are going to be like, you know, like if my losses are 6 pips, 7 pips, 8 pips, my wins are going to be like 12, 15. Something like GJ runs to like 20, 30. Last week had a couple like 60 pip trades, 70. See, it broke the low over there. If you look on the 30-minute, the 30-minute also broke the low 30-minute. It created a high over there. So I think it should continue moving bearish to retest this low here. Or at least till 138, 300. That's going to be a pretty good target. Some people in the YouTube chat think that 4K, we're talking about $4,000. No, man, it's the quality. Oh, you bought a $4,000 monitor? I'd never buy a $4,000 monitor. Any reason that the price on my MetaTrader 4 is different from what appears on your screen? Yeah, because you're using MetaTrader 4. I think everyone who's using MetaTrader 4 should start switching to MetaTrader 5. MetaTrader 5 is very nice. You'll feel a big difference in MetaTrader 5. If your broker doesn't have MetaTrader 5, well then there's MetaTrader 5.
Yeah, we paid for everything.
It costs more to get that, right?
Yeah. The other thing is too, new brokers that are opening up now, they're running off of another broker because MetaTrader 4 isn't available for licensing anymore. So anyone who offers MetaTrader 4 only is basically just introducing broker, like they're like a shell of another broker that they're working with. And they didn't in 2017. We were told to get MT5 and MT4 right then and there because MetaQuotes told us at the time MT4 was no longer going to be licensed or supported. So when MT4 finally breaks, there's not going to be anyone trying to fix it. So everyone will eventually have to be migrated to MT5.
Pay more or just call it a day?
Yeah, so licensing for MT4 and MT5 is usually it's in the high 6 figures to start for the licensing, and then you pay monthly as well. So you got to buy the license and then you got to turn around and pay monthly for it as well. MT4 is a little bit more stable than MT5, but MT5 is faster in terms of execution. But MT5 freezes a lot, so keep that in mind if you're trying to trade on mobile phones. The app isn't that safe. I never want to take trades on MT5 mobile. I stay on the actual like computer version. C-Trader, it's hard to get C-Trader because a lot of people, there's not enough demand, right? So when you look at your cost per user, there's not enough demand with C-Trader. If demand for C-Trader goes up, I'll definitely purchase.
Hi boss, how much did you get your 4K? Oh, it was
Boss, you were right about GJ.
do is I'll wait for this candle to close and then take. If not, if you don't wait for this candle to close with gold, you would be then putting your stop above the previous wicks over here. So you have this much room, and then now you have to find a proper risk to reward based on that.
Yeah, looks good.
But I mean, for gold, I'm really looking to swing it. I want it to go all the way down.
Oh, okay. Are you lowering your lot sizes for that swing, or same?
No,
Okay.
the spreads are good now, so I don't.
In regards to stops.
As soon as we get a little bit more structure on a bearish momentum, so once we get into the 1680s, then I'll start marking out my stop loss.
Oh, sweet, so yeah, makes sense.
Because right now the stop loss is too hard to place in terms of this for a swing.
Yeah.
It's too big. So what I'll do is once we get like a couple hours into the move, then I'll look to probably mark my stop loss.
Yeah, could we have a further zone than that? Yeah, sensible. Cool.
I like the way it is forming right.
Yeah, it looks like it should break it, continue down. GJ is also bearish now.
Yeah, man.
That should continue too. If someone's taken 2 trades or 3 trades today, even if they were test positions, whatever that was, small lots, big lots, you should be calling it a day. You shouldn't be worried about taking a trade, shouldn't be worried about, like, you know, forcing another trade because it's a Monday, you know, trust me. If you're ending the Monday in a loss, it's okay. It's okay. We're all in the same boat, you know. So just wait till tomorrow. Wait till Wednesday. You got Thursday. You got some news happening later on too for the. I think we have interest rates this week as well. Yeah, we got interest. Looks like this should continue moving down towards, you know, 138, 260, 138, 200. I think 138, 300 will also be a pretty good idea if it starts coming down. Some people in the YouTube chat and Zoom are already in GJ sells. That's pretty good. Thank you, Rajabai, for the advice. Oh, thank you. Looking into... No, I don't discuss any courses here on the live streams. I think it goes against the live stream rules of talking about courses. Why Mondays is hard to play. Mondays are basically hard. I don't think Mondays are hard. It's just like you're waiting for the daily candles to set up for the rest of the week. You know, Mondays are like Fridays. Sometimes Fridays you get those freaky moves. You know, Mondays are kind of like the same. It depends. It's really hard to talk about Mondays. I mean, you just have to be very, very disciplined when you're trying to trade Mondays. You know, sometimes the volume isn't there, so those things can put you in a little bit of a tight position. I got humbled by the market today. Ooh. Yep. Gotta be patient. Looks like US30 is creating a minor support over here to continue pushing beyond 27,330. Wow. See, your JPY is coming up towards 123,500. If you're in buys on your JPY, you're doing pretty good, because at this point, we don't know whether it's going to reject it or go past it, because you know it rejected it before during pre-London. So we're not really sure if it's gonna. So you can't take a sell over here because you know the candle is bullish. You can't take a buy because the candle is right here at the spot where it got rejected in pre-London. So you'll have to wait. Right, man. Waiting will save you so much grief in trading. It's not even funny. Just waiting and waiting a little bit longer. Can you shout out Mali Eat Titico? Shout out to Mali Eat Titico from the Philippines. GJ is a buy on the 4-hour. Yeah, I think if you send a chart, that'll help everybody. Because looking on the 4-hour is pretty bearish. Looking on the 30, oh, that's a bad word? Man, someone, whatever. So this 30-minute also rejected 138.550, closed bearish. This 30-minute broke below the low of the previous 30-minute candle. 15-minute candle is about to close. It's going to close in 8 minutes. You know, if it breaks below 138.370, it's going to continue moving below, you know, down to 138.300 and then eventually 200. With the 30-minute close, that will give room for the next 30-minute candle to also continue moving down, because now we'll have a lower low and lower. It is what it is. Hey, do you make a good living? You got influencers like Uncle Ted and maybe other folks in your circle have a nice car. I really looked into that. I mean, no, I haven't really looked into that. I have other goals right now I have to accomplish before I start thinking about getting cars and those kind of stuff.
Why does everybody assume that a car is a sign of success?
Yeah.
It's funny. It's always funny. What car do you have? Oh, you don't have a car? Okay, then you're not good.
Yeah, you're not successful.
That's like the last thing that you should be really looking at once you're successful. Like the first thing I did was, man, secure a property so you have somewhere to live for the rest of your life.
I suppose cars are sort of very successful on that basis, right? So, yeah.
I think having good cars, they look good after you have a good house.
Yes.
Yeah, man, they look good outside, right?
Yeah, agree 100%.
Yeah, because if you have a good car and you're living in in like an apartment complex, it doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, like I mean, I the first thing I want to do is have a house so that like I could at least, if anything went wrong, I had a place to live.
Man, you have a house, you have 2-car garage, you can park your nice cars in the garage.
You're absolutely right, man. You got $400,000 worth of cars and you live in an apartment building paying someone else mortgage. It doesn't make any sense. Like all that liability, you could have put half down or 50,000 on the property, and you know.
Yeah, the best thing about owning a property is it's the only sort of investment that they give you the full use of the investment without you having to pay for it. Like if you look at anything else that you have to buy, like you can't go to a restaurant and buy half your dinner. Like you have to pay for the full dinner. And you don't get utility of the dinner until you basically pay for it. A house, you get full utility of a house and you only put like 15% into it. And you know, when people look at that, it's a huge thing, because the equity that grows in your house or whatever, you know, over the long term, I mean, it's a place for you to live. And I think people have to realize that you don't use your home as an investment. You use it as an asset for yourself so that you can, you know, live in it. As you pay it down, you have access to lines of credit, you have access to home lines, you can then buy other properties and expand. Like there's so many opportunities. So I think people like don't mistake own.
Yes, sir. That's the way.
It's crazy. It's like the blind leading the blind out here.
Yeah, I know.
I think at the same time, it also comes with age too. Like, you know, as you grow older,
like when having rented a place and having owned a place, man, I wanted to own a place as soon as possible for myself. I think with cars, I mean, you get those after the fact. I mean, you buy them after the fact. Like I only bought my cars within the last maybe 3-4 years.
To
Like
do
I-
that, Ted, it goes from where you go to one place A to B, right?
Yeah.
That's what it is. That's what I don't get. Why it needs to be such an amazing thing. It's nice to have a cool car, right? But it's not priority.
Yeah, I mean, I look at sort of the way that, you know, you sort of look at what you do. I mean, for me, I can only drive one car at a time. My car actually goes faster than most other cars anyways. So like, I'm not too concerned about speed. I don't pay for gas, which is awesome too. So I have the best of both worlds, but I only bought it after I purchased my house. It just made sense.
Yep.
Like I was telling it, like a young guy approached me the other day. He was like, man, when I grow up, I want to be just like you, right? So I was like, hey, man, you got 10 friends? He was like, yeah. Are you guys close-knit? Like, yeah. I was like, all 10 of you guys put $2,000 together and buy a duplex.
Yeah.
There you go. LLC, buy a duplex together.
2,000?
Like it doesn't take a lot of money to like 20,000. So it doesn't take a lot of money to make money. But if you have a group of people, you open a company, you write it out, and you guys invest together. And then you guys said, okay, when we hit here, we're gonna cash out, or we're gonna reinvest it into something else. Like it doesn't take a lot. Like I have 3 buddies that I do investments with, and we've been turning our money ever since, and we haven't cashed out yet. But one guy, he's older and he's
Alright, let's take a look at this. Are you in any trades? Nope. I'm in no trades. 0 trades. I already took 2 trades and that's it. USDJPY 15. Very nice. 30-minute candle is about to close. It's about to close bearish. I think it has a very high chance to continue moving bearish. So I think it's gonna, the projection is gonna come true without me being in it. So it is what it is. It's really hard to buy a house in GT at this point for a millennial. Yeah, I think you only need to, like, you need just some cash saved up. Basically, that's about it. Because I used to think the same too. It's pretty hard, but like. I talked to my accountant. He's like, well, realistically, you only need like 100 to 130,000 saved up.
I was just about to ask you a question. Do you guys have like first-time home buyer programs?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So the same 3.5% down.
No. No, ours is 20%, 15 to 20%, but you can borrow off your retirement plans.
Wow.
And if you're a self-employed, then you gotta pay. It's just
Yeah, you gotta pay more.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's usually like 30% down. Yeah.
I'm ready to go out the back. Everything's clean down here, and and then we just got to shovel that.
All right, Harrison, sounds good. Sounds good.
Yeah, cheers, dude.
I'm never moving to Canada, man.
3%.
The way you laughed about it, it's just like 3%.
When I told him 3.5%, he's like, I thought he was gonna like, yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, right.
man.
If it was 3.5%, holy cow, I'd buy a whole street at this point.
Yeah, so if you're looking for a property about like 750, that's like.
Should we say 20%? Did you say?
Yeah, you got to put down like, was it 15,000 whatever?
So, yeah.
Monty, is it the same in the UK? Also 20% down?
Similar. They do some 5-10% ones, but then the government kind of pay a bit, and there's a few different schemes, but it won't be. There is some way you can do without any kind of deposit, but then you've got to pay a massive fee though. So yeah, there is things that help, but you know, it's not. It doesn't take long to save. 10-20%.
You know, now what they're talking about is now since a lot of people are trying to defer their mortgages, they're really tightening up the rules on which they will give out mortgages now.
Yes.
Hmm.
They really tighten them up because things are about to get really, really bad.
Hmm.
Because like the thing is, like people who aren't working, and if people who weren't making money in these 3-4 months, they're not going to be making money after that too.
Yeah, they're going to
So
struggle. Right?
a lot of deferrals coming up, a lot of defaults.
They during the last crash, they tightened the rules, and I think at one point, and then Thatcher came along and gave us this policy called right to buy, and it really created a hell of a lot of wealth in the UK, and that's why whenever you get housing data in the UK, it's just so it plays such a big role because so many people do own their properties. You know, she created a real strong middle class that way.
Yeah, because they had the council's houses where they give you the option to buy them, right? Which is pretty. That was a big thing, wasn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, it changed the country when you look at it. How many people became house owners, and then ended up having £500,000, £1 million in their pocket? You know,
and they were cheap too, and they were very cheap too at the time. If you'd already been living there for a long period of time, you could buy it for ever so cheap.
My uncle bought a place for 30,000, and then 15 years later, it was £500,000, man.
Yeah. My parents were the same. That age group got it perfect with houses. If you got houses at the right time, then you made a killing. I know, obviously, money changed over time anyway, not the value, but still, they made a lot of money over stuff like that.
Yeah, they did, and the thing is, then why would you not work for Thatcher? Do you know what I mean? She put the money in people's pocket, as opposed to in the state, you know.
Yeah, it's a big change.
GJ, the only thing that ran well was the analysis on US30. That's it. That's the only thing that ran really well.
I think gold in the next hour or so should be okay.
Yes.
I was just about to say, pretty close to like soon.
To come through.
Yeah, that 4 hour did well to push back up to where it was. That's
gold
signs.
and GJ once we cross down here now.
Yeah, if you want a safe opportunity, I think once we break into the 1680s, I think you're safe to go down to 1670 or so. So if you don't want to fight with it right now, you have an opportunity. But I think this hour candle, if this hour candle closes bearish, then we should tap one more time into this same region, into like the 1692, 1693 area, and then that should begin to descend. Because if you go to the hour, Raja, for a second, you'll see here these set of wicks here. This candle now, if you were to, essentially draw a zone here and say this was your zone, you can see now that this candle here has left this zone. This candle here drops further down, and then your next hourly candle will then start this way and then continue like this. But there's a possibility that your next hourly candle, so 9 a.m., could come in here again and then continue further down. So it's just something to keep in mind. But I don't think we're coming back to this area anymore. So that's a safe place. So if you're going to trade this, if you're in the trade right now, your stop loss is going to be above this area here. And then as the new hour candle forms, your next stop loss will probably be here, providing the next hour candle then starts to move down, because you can see then the wicks are starting to drop a bit. So you're getting this step approach. And then you can place your stop loss below those candles. And then as you get better, you'll look at your higher time frames and then move your stops there to secure them even better at that point. So you can see gold is running pretty cleanly now. I think if you're scalping it, you probably come right to here and then it might pull back a bit. But the idea then, we're just waiting to see how far this candle will go down at this point. But there's no way anyone should take a loss on gold right now.
Subtitles. No, I don't think so. No titles. No. Any plan for GJ? GJ has its own plans. GJ is creating like a minor resistance. I mean, GJ is just now ranging. You know, it's just kind of doing its own thing. The only plan for GJ is, I mean, if you're not in sells, I mean, the only plan I see is once it starts breaking below 138, 380, 370, you can have a move coming down towards 138, 200. But other than that, there's possibly nothing here. For the time I trade, for the 3 hours I trade, 2 hours I trade, I mean, that was about it. But I do believe once we cross below 138, 380, we could get a move coming down. Raja, I took a sell on gold. Well, perfect. Perfecto.
Cleared already. Gold. And now it should track down a little bit further. This is the thing too, like if you're watching like the 15-minute candles and the 5-minute candles, your 5-minute candle now has created a wick with gold on the top. So you have a wick there. But what you have is when you look to the left, there's a massive bullish candle that we just basically cleared on the 5-minute. So we tapped into that, and then there's a consolidation just where the 5-minute wick hit with gold. So it's something to keep in mind that you might have a little bit of issue around here just for the short term, and there might be more upside, like it might push up and then continue going further down, just because we did on the 5-minute, if you drew out a support, we did hit support, and I think that's this area here matches up right here. So we did hit this area, so now you're within this range essentially, so keep that in mind. And as we come into the last 5 minutes, you might of this 15-minute candle, keep in mind that might start to pull back for the rest of the hour as this hour finishes. So this hour may finish in sort of like an indecision candle, if you want to call it that, and the next hour candle may come right back into this zone again. So similar to what we were talking about. What we don't want to see is we don't want to see it break above this area here. We want to see it stay in this area here. So it might bounce around here and then continue further down. What's the best entry on gold? Well, it's the one that you've planned out. You would be planning out a trade for this, and you had mapped out your area in terms of what you're expecting and where you want to see gold move to, and then you're going to define your range on the smaller time frame.
Looks like G just moving here now. I was here you want to make 10 pips. Could you explain again how you lock in the trade and let it run too, please? Yeah, just put stops at break even and let it run. And you know, if you were in these GJ cells, you should be running good now. Oof. Caught that little move down on GJ once we broke below this low here.
Good work, man. Nice.
Yeah. Now I'm up $28 for the day.
Wee.
30-minute created lower highs or lower lows. It just took a little while for it to break down, but I was sure it's gonna come down since these candles just started closing bearish. Ooh, your JPY also rejected that area. Looks like gold is going to play games. See, that's why I stopped.
Yeah.
I stopped trading gold. Literally stopped trading gold. Roger, you said you wouldn't take any trade. Yeah, but I saw it happening, you know. I saw it happening, and
It's always interesting people tell you like why you can't do something.
Yeah. Have to use your money.
Yeah, how to use your money. It's like, I mean, once again, all we do is provide a basis of a sound strategy for someone who's brand new. As you get more seasoned as a trader, you can take as many trades as you want. You can do whatever you want. If you want to take 5 trades, take 5 trades. But when you start complaining that you're losing or you're getting bad entries or you're not making money, there's certain ideas that you should stick to until you get comfortable with that. And I think people have to get used to that is, you know, like if Raja sees a trade, he's going to take a trade. He's here to make money. He's not here to sit here and follow beginner rules. I don't use the guidelines. I don't care about them because I'm not worried about my account. I know that I shouldn't be taking 100 trades in a day. I know I shouldn't be chasing things. You know, but the brand new traders know that. So, I mean, calling him out every time he takes a trade or doesn't take a trade is really, really silly, to be honest. Like it doesn't make sense. It's more so for your learning and for you to grasp concepts and for you to have an enjoyable time in the charts. I mean, Raj has been trading for 4.5 years. I mean, I'm pretty sure he doesn't need to be told what he needs to do and how he needs to do it. I think we should keep that in mind.
Yeah, I agree, 100%.
What is that, Raja? Microphone?
also, yeah. Also, at the same time, I was well within my risk limits too.
It's like a TV commentator now, man. No, it is like
yeah, man.
Yeah, this is a new mic right now.
It's definitely game day footage now.
For a lot of people, I kind of like this. I'm going to use this from now on.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. Are you still on GJ? No. Nope. Not at all. New traders are warming up their fingers to start clicking mouse buttons. Yeah, 2 pairs I find extremely difficult to trade these days is the gold and US30. Extremely difficult, really, really difficult. I think in the last 2 months, I've taken like 4 trades on.
Apart from March, right? But
yeah. Personal thoughts on gold. My personal thoughts on gold are: don't trade gold. It's extremely expensive to trade gold, and it's extremely hard to trade gold most times now. I used to trade gold and I stopped. Now I only trade GJ. For some people, gold is easy. For me, it's pretty hard, so I don't go about trading gold.
Yeah, I'm happy with gold. I'll let it. As soon as we break down, I'll take a trade to get in there. Because my first trade I just closed at 10 pips, so it didn't run the way I wanted it to.
yeah, kind of off that 5 minute though. You were just talking about that level around there.
Yeah. But I expected this pullback anyways because it's the last 15-minute candle of the hour for 9 o'clock, and then 9 o'clock will probably pull up a little bit more, and then it'll drop.
I mean, we're still creating lower wicks, right? So,
yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah, as long as we don't break above 16, I'm looking here, as long as we don't break above 1695, we're really in good shape.
Yeah.
I want to add something for the beginner rules. It's also pretty hard to journal 10 trades. That's true. Then during weekly, monthly supplies in control for gold, so I'm waiting for a retest of daily 4 supply to sell it. 1708. Sell it for the daily continuation. What? Sell it for the daily continuation? Oh, supply, as in, okay, the resistance. Yeah, I think it should kind of. When I backtest looking for volume, been noticing big volume coming in on GJ at 9 a.m. most days. Well, Jimbo, I think then that's a very good time for you to look at the markets then, if you think the analysis comes at that time, the volume. Is your GJ analysis still holding? Nope, my GJ analysis ended because I was expecting price to continue down, like make a resistance and to come down towards, like 138.3 has ended. And like, to be honest, if you look on the 15-minute, once this candle broke below the low, it actually went down around 10, around like 10, 11 pips, and if you look at price will most of the time, it's when guys say, oh yeah, they only go for 10 pips. But like the thing is, like most of the time, you will see your profits are going to run into 10 to 12 pips. Most of the time it's going to happen. And I think me, with the way I trade, me securing 10 to 12 pips, that's actually very, very good because I can secure 10, 12 pips every time. And if I can do that every day, then after every so weeks or months, I can just keep on increasing my lot sizes and start grabbing 10, 12 pips. And sometimes what happens is if you let a position run, what's going to happen is that it may run into that break even. I think I did a whole breakdown on my YouTube. I posted the video. You can go watch that. Roger's talking in the mic so closely, which is why you hear me such nicely. What is this? Oh yeah, that's what I look like right now.
Yeah, 100%.
Hey guys, he's got some corn stuck in his teeth. You get the idea.
So if you're watching gold on the 30-minute, something key here, this wick here and this wick here, so you can see it hasn't broken above. So there's a good possibility that we can come up within this area here and still continue going down if we are bearish, if we continue bearish. So these are little hints that can help you out. So now, as long as this doesn't break above here, we should be good. It doesn't mean that the next 30-minute candle is going to be like this, that the wick is going to be lower. It could potentially go into this area here, but so the next hour candle will be key. So if you watch the next hour candle start, and that starts to go bearish, then you probably have a pretty good sign that we're going to continue to move.
Ted, your target's
previous week.
Okay.
The wick fill from the previous week. So that would be the swing trade. So when you look at gold as it drops, as long as we don't go above 1695 over the next couple hours.
Yeah, it makes sense. I was just looking on the higher time frames. I couldn't pick it up. I see what you mean with the whole last week.
Yeah. So the thing that I'm concerned about is this daily candle may not flip bearish. We may still remain bullish. So there might be a test back up tomorrow into this area again. So for people that are looking at this trade, you may want to have two positions open where you close one towards the end of today as it goes deeper into the session. And then the next trade, what you'll do is you'll let it run with your stop loss as high as it can be within profit. And then it should carry on tomorrow further down.
But further down, if we continue, obviously, once we break
that small support that we have right now, we're heading down to 1687.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. Take care.
Take care. Take care.
Thank you.
Oh man, I just realized I have to spend some more money today. Have to get a new processor.
You can't do that. You only earned $26.
Yeah. No, because like I have a very old processor running right now, and it's really affecting the streaming here with the large display.
Has it made a difference with that 4K?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh dear, it's never ending. Never ending, I told you.
Man, if
He's the best trader in the world. Everyone else is buying Rolexes and these Audemars Piguets and these $400,000 cars, and he's debating between water. He's got to buy a new monitor.
$3 bottle of water, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I told you, it's a slippery slope, man. Starting to buy this computer stuff bit by bit. You start adding it up, and then it's more, and it's I just got to get another screen. And
the thing is, last week too, I was eating, and then we ordered. We were sitting eating sushi, and there was a Wagyu strip sushi, and it was like $28 a piece, and we had two, and it was 8 pieces, and I was like, yeah, I think I could afford that.
Enjoy it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's just funny sometimes to think about stuff, right? It's like
basic stuff. Yeah.
I still had McDonald's last night. It was good.
Do you know, I had my first McDonald's for about, I don't know, God knows, 2 months the other day. I didn't realise how salty it was, man. I think I've missed salt in all that time. I had one burger and I was like, wow. It's like, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, I bought this PC for like about $1,000 about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. Now I think it's worth like $600.
What could you been doing? Just kept putting new bits inside?
Yeah, the only thing I did was increase the RAM, and that's about it. And I think since I got this new monitor right now, in terms of processing speed.
I didn't realize you had all 32-inch monitors. Like I've got one 32-inch, and I've got 24s on the side, but you've got all 32. That's pretty crazy.
It's nuts, man. Yeah, that's why I got the background black, so that it doesn't blind me every morning. I've got one turned off right now because, yeah, I got one turned off.
But if you're looking at trading view and you've got the dark back,
3 set up and like, you know, working, I realized I didn't really need 3 monitors. I mean, they just look cool.
Yeah.
They just look good.
In the morning it helps because I can read the YouTube chat, I can read the Zoom, and I got my stuff going on like a couple of side screens. So I mean, it's not a big deal. But yeah, I mean, if you're a new trader, I mean, one screen is probably good enough. But you sort of use 3 screens as a luxury. Like you're just lazy. Like I don't want to flip through tabs and stuff, so I'll just have stuff open on one screen.
I think you're right with streaming overkill because you've got the whole, you know, it takes up a whole screen, right? So you can't really do much with that one. So having a couple of screens to deal with all the chats and stuff makes sense. But normally, if it wasn't for the stream, I wouldn't need 3.
Yeah, I just bought it because they looked good, and my withdrawal came in, and I was like, awesome. Like, this is the only thing I like, you know, like some guys like cars and car parts. I just love technology. I just sometimes like this monitor, I basically went out to get bread. That was the whole idea. I had to go to Walmart to get bread. And then I thought about, let's go check out these prices. And I liked it. And I'm just going to go get it.
That's what Ted said the other week about going to the hardware shop. It's like,
yeah, like I go to Home Depot. Jeez, I can go to Home Depot and buy everything. Like, there's so many cool things there.
Yeah.
So while I'm in, I'll just have one of them.
Yeah, literally, that's what I did. I went to Home Depot. I'm like, oh, wow, that's like that. And I just buy this, buy that, and like, oh. Yeah. And there's things too that I buy that I know I'll eventually need. Like for my lawn, like I buy like different fertilizers and things like that. So you know, I just picked it up, you know, when I can, and
yeah, I'm the same.
Yeah, you know, and also too, like your weed whacker, like, you know, like the trimmer. You know, you need the line, so I bought like 3 packages of line.
Just in case.
Put them just in case. I put them in my cabinet. You know, I bought different sanders because, you know, I was building my table. It's basically done now. So I needed the different sanders. So I bought a belt sander, a circular sander, and, you know, I got stuff now.
It's a typical bloke thing.
You have a nail gun? Yeah, yes, I do. Actually.
Yeah, same happened to me.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I got a whole bunch of craft. It's actually funny.
It's a proper bloke thing, that is. I think
it's just Home Depot. So much stuff you can buy in there. Like, I'm almost looking to buy a compressor. Like, I have a compressor right now, but I want to get one so I can have a torque gun so that I can change my tires myself instead of having them done for me. Like, I just want to be like a race car like technician now.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
You should go to Lowe's every Friday morning. I used to go Lowe's every Friday morning, and I go for the clearance department. They have good stuff in there.
You must have that basket thing. So this stuff.
And I bought shit even though if I don't need it. But man, you don't know when you're gonna need a tool or something like that. So I just grab anything from there and whatever.
That's an age thing as well. I'm sure that's an age thing.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Yep.
It's funny, each of my neighbors on my street basically all have like garages full of tools and things like that. So it's actually interesting. Yeah, it's like everyone does things here.
It's awesome. But you stand in the middle of the street discussing power.
And horsepower snowblower, and it's like...
You're going to say, you're going to take his little... That's his thing. You can't take that away from him, man. It's like, you know, I've got one better than yours.
Yeah. So if you're in gold, you should be deep in profits again. The new hour candle's opening. So you can see how the new hour candle's formed on gold. So similar to what we were talking about, see how this wick is now lower than this one. But I mean, it could still pop up a bit, but you might find now once it breaks this support here, we're going to drop to here and then eventually be here. So something to keep in mind.
Yeah, it's just that little 15 I've got on around where we are now, basically, that I'm keeping an eye on.
Yeah, so this was a good entry. So if you're looking to take gold, this is something to keep in mind. You could have taken an entry here, and then your stops would be above here or above here. And then your idea is you're going to go down to here. So this becomes your risk here, and then your reward comes down to here. So you're going to have to battle a bit in the new hour candle.
I mean, price action is doing really good because it's creating lower highs and lower lows.
Yes.
On 30 minutes. So yeah, we're Gucci.
Testing. You guys can hear me?
Hello.
Oh,
yeah,
perfect.
man.
Perfect. Yeah, I'd say this New York session wasn't easy, except for the fact you had GJ moves down, but that's about it. Some people took the up, some took these sells going down, and I mean there wasn't much after that.
No, it's pretty similar from the start, to be honest. From London was similar, a lot of range, and one big move after between London and New York, and then we've got kind of a similar thing now, where it's just kind of, it's not really moving solid, right? It's moving slowly, but it's progressing bit by bit, right?
Yeah.
It's not a solid movement.
Slowly but surely.
That's the thing. It's a long time to hold a trade, right? If you want to try and take a trade, you know you probably have to hold it for like 2 hours or something. Anyway, I'm going to call it a day, guys. Thank you so much. I'll speak to you all later, no doubt.
Yeah, mate.
Have
No
a good
doubt.
one. See you later.
Yeah.
Take it.
Call of Duty, yeah, probably.
Yeah. Probably gonna go get this new processor today.
You go to Canada Computers?
Yeah, let's go there. Man, the most annoying thing is I've got this monitor, right? I got this monitor and the monitor has 2 dead pixels in the bottom left corner. They're not noticeable. It's kind of like that tiny dent you have in the corner of the car, which no one can see it, but once you see it,
yeah, you cannot see it.
So I have those on my monitor and I call them and I'm like, hey, so there's these dead pixels, what should I do? They're like, oh yeah, that's okay. I'm like, what do you mean? It should be a clean screen. They're like, oh no, that's fine. It's the policy. I'm like, but it should be a clear screen. He's like, yeah, we know, but the Samsung actually says is that if you have a bunch of dead pixels, you know, like 5 or 6, 7, 8, then they'll replace the product. But if there's only 2 tiny ones, then it is what it is. It is what it is. Sometimes in life you just can't change some things. Oh, actually the processors aren't that expensive at all. They're like $250, $300. Oh, they're on sale too. Ryzen 5 3600. That's what I'm getting today.
That's a good one.
Yeah. You know the one I have right now? It's the Ryzen 1600, and that is on sale for $80. So you can imagine what I have right now.
Yeah. So if you're in gold, you should be securing profits 10 pips now with this with this candle, because our first target was this area here. So you basically hit that. You're coming into this bigger target, which has a lot of views over here. So keep in mind, if you've just traded gold off this first candle, that should be your take profit point. If you're going to hold it, be prepared for it to whip back a bit. So you have to make that decision.
Yeah, I'm in 1693.50. My stop loss was 1694.30 basically.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right now, I'm gonna secure some.
Yeah. So we should be approaching this very close. Be down into the 1670s. So just keep that in mind as you're trading this.
Great call, Ted. That's pretty
Thank
good.
you.
Yeah.
Well,
for some reason,
the spreads are better now, so it's easier to trade.
I know. For some reason, my take profit was 1687.09. I have to cover a lower wick on 5 minutes. But yeah, the target makes sense. 1687.800. It's good.
Yeah. So I mean, if you're in, so here's the thing: we're almost approaching the end of the 15-minute candle, so you might want to just exit here because the next 15-minute candle could shoot right back up. So just keep that in mind as you're trading. But you should be good now. Like, I mean, once again, I don't suspect that we will pull back above this level here, so we're gonna probably play in here. The next candle will probably start over here somewhere, fill that area, and then we'll eventually get to this point here. But once again, you should have secured profits. This shouldn't have been a difficult trade for you because we followed essentially each of these wicks. They each dropped a little bit each time, creating this step. So the next wick should probably step over here somewhere and then continue down. So there's no reason why you should have lost a gold trade today based on what's happening.
Yeah, I think just by looking at market structure here as well, it made sense because we had support in these areas, and then you had this one candle closing below this support. This one.
Correct.
All right, guys, I'm out. Rakeel, Ted, have a good one. All right.
See you later.
Yeah, you too. Take care.
I just secure 75% on this trade.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, this is gonna run.
Are you in gold? No, I'm not in gold. Nope.
There's no doubt, but this is once again, it becomes down to your risk, right? So if you're new to trading gold or your account's smaller, like these are the types of trades, this kind of trade here that you check off, close, and then you're done for the day, because you've secured, you know, a big move in terms of trades. You shouldn't turn around and look and say, well, oh man, it continued running down here and I only secured this amount. These kind of trades, when you keep doing them over and over and over again every day, that's what builds your account to allow you then to say, okay, I've already made, you know, 6 or 7%. This trying to hold trades longer, but it's very difficult when you have a small account, because, you know, a lot of times if it pulls back, you know, you could have had a bigger profit than you trying to hold trades. As you get more comfortable and as the profit increases on your account, that's where you can say, okay, hey, I'm going to swing trade this pair because I see that we're going to drop further. But if you're trying to build your account, you should be just trying to take small, simple trades every day. And then as you get comfortable with the rate of return, then you can look to say, hey, I'm going to expand this trade. I'm going to build it a little bit more. Because, right? So you have to keep that in mind. I mean, for me, I'm going to swing this. I don't care that if it hits my stop loss up here and I only make $500, it doesn't bother me, because that doesn't impact my mental state, because I've made money. But for someone who has a $100 account or a $500 account, having it constantly hit your stop loss and now I'm done, I don't care what happens afterwards. And once you get more profit underneath you in terms of your trading, then you can say, hey, you know what, this week I had a banner week. I'm going to take this trade here and I'm going to try and run it down over here. I'll move my stop to break even. And if it hits my break even, I don't care, because this was just a bonus. But when you're trying to build, the idea is to collect money every time and collect profits, not to see, well, how long can I hold a trade and how long can it run? Because if this becomes support and now suddenly we drive back up here, you've wasted all that effort that you did in terms of doing analysis to make money at that point, right? So keep that in mind, and that's something only you can determine as a trader. Nobody can tell you whether it's good or bad or how much should I take. I do. It's your comfort level. If I have a $100 account and I just made 20 bucks on my account, I'm taking that 20 bucks. I'm not trying to extend it to another $100. I'm taking 20 bucks because I can come in every day and do that once a day or twice a day, and I can make $20 or $30 really feeling any anxiety, because you can clearly see what we saw here. This is very textbook. Up, you know, you have this level here, this level here, you have this level here. So you can see, as long as we're not breaking these levels, we should continue going down, right? But here, you're looking to the left and saying, hey, this candle came right here. This was a rejection, so this could be a zone that we reject off of. So the fact that we got into that zone means that was a really good trade. We took the depth of that zone and now we can exit and say, hey, I'm happy. And you would have exited just before the end of the 15-minute candle, and that would have gotten you the trade that you were looking for. And I really think you need to understand that, and you need to get used to the ideas of just taking profit every day, no matter how big or how small. It's always going to be a benefit. No one's going to ever get upset with you for taking profit. You close a trade early. Define what early is. There's no such thing as a closing an early trade. You close the trade based on your comfort level. That was the trade that you wanted to do, and that's how you trade. You know, if you closed over here, right over here, You know, you close right over here, that's fine. Maybe you close right over here, that's fine too. Maybe now you're holding and you're going to get stopped out over here. Okay, lesson learned, right? As you continue to trade, you realize that tomorrow's another day. Like, don't worry about it. You know, as long as you haven't taken a big loss, you got tomorrow. You know, you make $5 today. Tomorrow you can make 20. But the fact is, you didn't lose anything today. So what are you worried about, right? So you have to get out of the mindset and the mentality of the fact that, you know, oh, I closed early or I didn't hold long enough. There's no such thing as that. The thing is, you planned the trade for where you want it to go. Your comfort level was violated, and that's why you closed, right? If your comfort level wasn't violated, you wouldn't have closed the trade. You can't fault yourself for following your instincts and following what you're comfortable with. The better, or the sooner you realize that you're trading based on your comfort level, and your comfort level grow as you gain more experience, the better off you're going to be. Really just secure profits every day. I mean, you're going to feel so much better about yourself knowing that you took 10 pips off of GJ or 10 pips off of gold than holding that trade and either taking a loss or watching it go to break even. Because all that's going to happen is the rest of the day, you're going to be like, man, I had 10 pips and I let it go back to break even. Why did I do that? Why did I do that? Why did I do that? And eventually you're going to say, hey, you know what? I closed at 10 pips. It ran another 30, but that's okay because I took the 10 pips that I wanted and I got a good trade in according to my style, according to my comfort level. Get used to that. And the more you get used to it, the better off you're going to feel.
Yeah, that was excellent. It just reject. Like, the only reason I had this zone drawn was because I saw this kind of reject. So just the odds, like, what are the odds it's going to reject it?
Yeah.
Like,
and something to keep in mind, right? It's a point where you might have to exit your trade.
Yeah. Like, of course, when you're in sells, you want price to continue running, but logically, you just got to play by probabilities, right? Like, what's the chance it's going to reject it?
Yeah, and I mean, you know, we basically, at that point, that was like a 30 pip move on gold. I mean, that's not a bad move on gold, to be honest.
Yeah. Very clean, nice move.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll continue to move throughout the USA session, the New York Stock Exchange. But once again, that's something to look at. I think we'll watch gold for the rest of the week, and I think you'll find that it'll dip, it'll continue to drop a bit all the way down to 1670. I think that'll be the trade this week that we talk about. So if you're holding gold, keep holding it and see how far we can go.
Yeah, downtown.
All right, everybody, take care, have a nice day, and we'll see you tomorrow morning.
All right.
With the new processor and hopefully a brand new computer, who knows?
Take care. Shukriya.